Welcome to Drive to Describe. It is me, Nathan, your host, joined as always. He's not in Melbourne this week. He's out gallivanting. It's James. Where are you, James?
I'm in the Como Shambhala retreat in Ubud today, which for viewers not from Australia is in Bali. So I've taken a very last minute short preparation trip to try and thaw from the first week of winter in Melbourne.
Living your absolute best life, James. I think it should be said.
Yes, it's yes, we're very lucky to be staying where we're staying. So it's beautiful.
And better weather, I assume, as well.
Yes. It's a little hot and sticky. It's in the tropics after all is said and done. But right now, I think when we left Melbourne, it was 4. So, and we got here, it was 30. So definitely a bit warmer. That's for sure.
Would you say, James, warmer than a Tits and Giles summer?
No, I was talking to my sister the other week, and I think it was like 28, 29 degrees, and they were like the roads were melting as they tend to do when it gets too hot in the UK. It's summer in the UK is 25 degrees in the UK feels like way hotter than 40 degrees in Australia because the country's set up to be warm in the winter, and so nothing loses heat. It's once a house gets hot, it's all over. Yeah.
It all checks out. Well, what we thought we'd do, it's a non-race week, and we were literally winging it in real time what the hell we would record. We had some scheduling conflicts. We didn't know you were away. And then Jackie's unavailable. Taylor's almost always unavailable at the moment, being in Dubai and time difference, and everything just doesn't quite work out. But you and I have made the effort to be here. We thought we have indeed together, and we put it all together about 10 minutes ago. I think the message went, when are we recording? What are we talking about? It's been a quite week in the sport.
It has. There's well, as we're going to get onto in a minute, we're going to go through and compare all the drivers and have a little bit of a face-off between all of them. But there has been a couple of rumours of potential changes, which I'm sure we'll get to in the reviews of each driver pairing.
All righty. Well, we'll start from the bottom and we'll work our way to the top. We're obviously concerned if we start with the top, we're going to stop listening about 10 minutes into this podcast. If you haven't already, when you realize we had no plan. In any event, we're going to start off talking about the team. I think these guys are actually, James, I'm going to mix this up on you. I think these guys are technically at the bottom, and that is our friends at Aston Martin, the team of Adrian Newey fame. And this just hasn't, I think it's fair to say, James, this hasn't quite worked out.
No, well, there's rumours are rife as well, aren't they? That Jonathan Wheatley is. I don't think it's been officially confirmed yet, has it? Or it's not too far off being officially confirmed that Jonathan Wheatley is going to come in as the team principal, which would see
getting the band back together. Yep.
Yeah, which would see Adrian Newey step back to a more technical role, which is probably where he's had most of his success in his career. So I don't think it's a bad thing. Is if we're comparing the drivers here, like Lance Stroll against anybody, you're going to go with the other guy. So it's and when that guy is a 2-time world champion and probably one of the most talented drivers to ever drive in Formula One, you're going to pick that guy pretty much any day of the week. And the gap. I was reading something the other week, which was
the gap. I'll have you know, James, is nothing.
Nothing. Obviously, in talent is quite substantial, though. Yeah. I was reading something that in qualifying is everybody else's head-to-head is there's one driver like McLaren. Lando tends to out-qualify Oscar, but the results are quite slim. But it's still only 60-40, if you know what I mean. It's not stark. And Aston Martin is the only one where it's like 90-10 as to Fernando out-qualifies Lance Stroll 90% of the time. So it's just something needs to change at that team, and it's whether it's whether the whole Stroll family needs to go from it or what, I don't know, because Papa Stroll's has spent money. He's not been shy in investing in the team, that's for sure. But they just don't seem to.
James, as someone who supports a team with a terrible owner who has a lot of money, hello James Dolan in the New York Knicks. It doesn't always equate to a failing team if they get out of the way. I'm not sure Lawrence gets out of the way.
No. And the fact his son is still the driver when he's quite obviously the worst driver on the grid. would suggest that he's not that there's some bias there completely towards the driver lineup, at least, let alone whether he gets involved in the technical side as well. But
is there any other driver you'd put worse than him? Is there?
I don't think so. Is there?
He's probably got more podiums than the Hulk, doesn't he? I'm being very facetious, listeners. I do not think Lance Stroll is a better driver than Hulkenberg.
Yeah, but if you had to pick a driver that you would think if your life depended on, you had to pick the first driver to crash, it'd be up there. Colapinto wouldn't be too far behind him, but it wouldn't be too far away.
Close, yeah, come at me, South America. All right, there's not much to add here. They're on 0 points as a team. They are actually situated dead last in the championship, which I think comes down to the fact that somewhere, somehow, Cadillac have finished higher than them in some race, somewhere along the way.
I think it's DNFs, isn't it? They've just had more DNFs than Cadillac. So technically they get classified ahead of them.
I thought it went back to based on your top position if you're non-point scoring. Maybe I'm wrong.
But then didn't Sergio fluke a big one in Canada? Like, didn't he get like 14th or something? Yeah. So
maybe that's what it all comes down to. Well,
yes.
Speaking of our friends over at Cadillac, they are also on 0 points. Not unexpectedly, in their case. Certainly not predicted by our friend Jackie to be a top tier team.
I still can't. And the biggest thing for me on this one is Jackie has been watching Formula One for a long time and knows a lot about Formula One. She also knows that other than Brawn, which wasn't really a new team, they're like a brand new team has never got anywhere near the points in any of their first seasons ever. So
you're almost underselling how little success they have. They're often lapped within 10 laps. They're terrible.
Yeah. Yes.
All new teams suck. We're not surprised, are we, James, to see these guys towards the bottom of the standings. Anything stand out about either driver for you?
Well, there's already rumors that Valtteri's days could be numbered. The fact that he's so much slower than Sergio is seeming to be too much for the Cadillac. Is obviously they can see the numbers and they're only really racing each other and maybe Aston Martin every now and then. But there's talk that Yuki Tsunoda might be on the list to replace Valtteri Bottas at Cadillac. So
sorry, I haven't caught this rumor. Where is this come from? Any reputable source or?
I don't think any rumors come from reputable sources until it's
algorithm, my friend.
Yeah, no. This was on the BBC website, so it's something. Right. It's somebody's research, and not me, admittedly, but somebody's done put some degree of research into it. That's for sure. But I don't see how Valtteri, because the Valtteri. Let's face it, this is a 10-year project, and Valtteri's what 38, 39. I can see why they've gone for two experienced drivers, but if they're slower than even they thought they would be, I would think. And so if you could,
I mean, we've seen teams do this. Red Bull had David Coulthard, and he in a lot of respects is really similar to these two. He was kind of your number two driver at a top team.
Yeah,
it's not uncommon.
No, they did have for their young driver, didn't they? Yeah, I completely. But if you're the driver, like, you're not going to be there for the success if there is success. So I can see how motivation would be an issue for both of the drivers, if we're going to be honest. Because let's face it, by the time all the hard work is done,
but don't sign your contract.
Yeah, exactly. That's they just want to be in Formula One still. But it's. And if we're going to be honest, I don't really care until they get to some degree of competitiveness. Do you care?
No, I don't care at all.
No,
I don't care at all. If I see them, I'm like, oh, there's Valtteri, and that's the extent of my thought.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's all they should be. It's It's.
Would you say we've spent enough time talking about these two?
I think we've actually already spent far too long. Yeah.
Which brings us to the team currently, James, sitting in, and I used a bit of a blurry image there, but I had a bit of trouble getting a few images together in very quick succession. So please forgive me, listeners, for those of you who are on the YouTube. If you're not on the YouTube, ignore everything I just said.
Or go over to the YouTube and start watching.
Start watching there.
Yeah.
Do you know how many points Audi have?
I would have. You have told me already, so that's a loaded question. But I would have said they have a lot more than you told me they did have. Yeah, yeah, I would have said they'd had between 8 and 10.
Yeah. So the Ulk, our old favorite, is he's like the cat with 1,000 lives. He's got 0 points season to date.
Yeah,
0 points. And our friend Gabriel Bortoleto has 2. So the team is on 2 total points, which is a bit shockingly bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they've carried on with the old Sauber issues. They were generally reasonably okay in qualifying, but in race pace was just completely not there. And I think that's because they've had some reason
constantly.
Yeah,
constantly.
Yeah.
11th.
And they've had some reasonable qualifying results. They're just so the car is fast. They're just not fast for long enough. So I think they're well, for a bottom of the mid pack or top of the bottom kind of team. Top of the bottom, are they? Top of the bottom. But yeah, they're they're the least shit. Let's go with that. Yeah.
They're the least shit.
But I think they've got the right driver lineup. I think Bortoleto is coming on leaps and bounds. I think he has the makings to be a very good driver for a long time. And Nico is still fast enough to warrant his spot in that team. But there will come a time in not too distant future that he won't do. So I can.
I'm jumping off the. I know we jumped off the Hulkenberg train before he even returned to the grid, and then we jumped on it when he got a podium. And now I'm ready to jump off again. This feels like the last season. I don't even know if he's signed next year, but I mean, how long?
I think he signed 3 years, didn't he? When he signed for
this year
back in the day.
Or is this the third year?
This is year 2. No, I think he signed last year of Sauber. Yeah.
I have one more comment about this team, and it's the only thing I've thought about them all year.
Yeah.
Why is the car so ugly?
But is it as ugly as the psychedelic snot machine from last year?
It's worse. I prefer the psychedelic snot machine.
Oh,
this thing is so ugly. It's just a horrible grey
Audi thing in the world, isn't it? Though, yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like the car. That's my whole contribution to this conversation.
Yeah,
I agree with you that the Gabriel Bortoleto's got something that will shine with a better car. I suspect he raced really well against the experienced veterans on the track last year. So I'm expecting good things from him. All right, we move on to Williams, James. After having 3 years, James, to discuss this bloody car and get it ready and all that stuff, they're an overweight mess. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think that they're I think the plus sides for Williams are a bit more than the teams above them, if I'm going to be honest. I like the car itself. We all know it's overweight. They struggled with crash tests in before the season started, and so had to reinforce a lot of stuff, and so added weight in. So when they get it back down to fighting weight, I think the car has the Mercedes power plant and drivetrain as well, which does, if you look at everybody else with the Mercedes drivetrain, it's going okay. So long term, it may not be until maybe even after the summer break, but I think we'll see a bit more from Williams. But I also think if we're going to question Nico Hulkenberg's ability and longevity in the sport, we probably even need to now start to have a little bit of a conversation as to how much longer Alex has got before he starts to do something special again, because he hasn't done anything special for a while that didn't involve him staying out on a set of hards for the whole race.
You're a bit off him, aren't you?
I'm not. I like Alex. I think he's a good person, and I think he's a good driver. He's for me, he's the stereotypical confidence driver. When his confidence is high, he's a much better driver, and I don't think his confidence has been high for a long while.
Yeah, look, I think the car's got some ability. It's just going to take time to get it where it needs to be, because it's got to lose weight. If I lost weight, I'd be a peak physical athlete, James. I'm not, because I have not lost weight. It's not that easy, Williams. But I do think they've got something in the car, and the actual raw speed of it is there if they can harness that through the weight distribution or whatever they need to do to make that car more streamlined.
Yeah.
Is there a world you see where they push up towards that top 5? They're challenging the likes of Alpine and the like?
I think so. I think by the end of the year, they may have given themselves too big a gap to bridge, but I think that they'll be competitive with those cars by the end of the year. But maybe they should try keto or intermittent fasting or something. That always seems to work. Yeah.
Keto diet. Well, they're
Yeah.
on 7. They're on 7 total points. But when we say
Yeah.
the gap is too big, well, when we move on to say Haas, for example, we're about to do them
Mhm.
next, and they've only got 19 points. So we're talking one like 4th place odd finish to suddenly move into that area. So let's move on to the boys at Haas. Your boy Ollie Behrman and my boy Ocon Island Esteban. Now, the point differential between these guys, James, is somewhat substantial.
Stark. Yeah.
A little bit substantial, one could say. So as it stands at the moment, Esty Bestie is on 1 solitary point, absolutely killing it. And his overrated teammate, Ollie Behrman, is on 18.
Esteban Ocon is another one of the drivers that have been rumored to have questions about his longevity in the team as well. Obviously, with the Honda link to Haas as well, is Yuki Tsunoda's been linked with this seat as well. So I don't know whether that one was just pure pie in the sky kind of journalism, but I wouldn't be shocked if I saw Yuki Tsunoda in a Haas by the end of the year. Would you?
Yes, I would be shocked. I don't. Oh gosh, I have gone so far off Yuki Tsunoda after his performance at Red Bull last year. He was horrendous, and
Insipid,
I cannot imagine a world where he gets back on the grid. That can't happen. You can't like Esteban Ocon's won a race. I know it was some time ago and under certain conditions, but I mean, he hasn't had a great start to the season, but there's no way I'd be looking at a guy like Esteban Ocon and going, "Oh, I need Yuki Tsunoda in this car." No, thank you.
No. It could be that they're just looking at other drivers, and obviously somebody's put 2 and 2 together and gotten 5 with the whole Honda and Tsunoda thing. So, I don't. Again, Esteban Ocon is one of those drivers that's not done a lot. He's not done a lot this year, and he certainly didn't do a lot last year either.
I agree.
So he's not been good for a while, and we've not seen that. We'll see an odd race from him, but consistently he's had his pants pulled down by a much younger, much faster driver.
And not a rookie, but guy.
Yeah. So we will see. Maybe not Yuki Tsunoda, but there's definitely a world where I can see somebody else in the other Haas this year.
I've been slow to jump on the Ollie train, as you well know. Yeah. I've got this preset bias against British drivers for some reason. Can't work out why.
Don't know why. It took him 10 years to like me.
took us a while to become pals. He's clearly outperforming his teammate. Like it's not even particularly close. And he's sitting, I think, 9th overall in the championship, which is an incredible achievement in a car that can barely raise the top 10 in qualifying. So, Ollie Behrman's driving tremendously. And it's one of those things where you go look at the standings and you sort of think, because we do our top 5 drivers every week, and I think, or every race rather, and I think, and I really haven't thought about Ollie probably enough. You know, when you look at the standings, you go, geez, he's done well to be, up there in 9th overall. Because when you think about the top 8, we know who they are, theoretically. So he's best of the rest, literally.
Yeah, and then there's also 2 cars that are faster than the R's this year in the Alpine and the Racing Bulls
more,
at the minute.
Because Haas aren't even ahead of Racing Bulls in the standings. Which shows even more incredible how Ollie's season has been fast.
Even if the second driver had half as many points as Ollie, then they'd be a lot higher than where they are. So,
well, that's right. Well, one of the teams above them, it is the Racing Bulls. Liam Lawson and your man Arvid Lindblad. Lindblad? Is that how you say it? I'm still going to Lindblad. I'll just call him Arvid.
He's half Indian, half Swedish. So it's a melting pot of a culture in his household, I'm guessing.
$1 million question for you, James. Who's ahead in the standings of these 2 drivers?
I would say it's Liam Lawson, because didn't he fluke one recently where everybody else was crashing and he kept it on the track?
Yeah, so he's 10th in the championship. He's got 16 points, and Arvid has 5. This is a classic example where I don't think the disparity in points speaks at all to any quality difference between the drivers.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to ask me to pick a driver that I would want to pick to be in Formula One in the next 5 years, I'm picking Lindblad over Lawson every day of the week.
I got to
Twice on
say though,
Sundays.
Liam's an
Mhm.
easy target for us, and to sit 10th in the championship, and to think about as an athlete when you get moved into the senior team, and within 2 races they're like, dude, you're out, like you're done. To still be kicking in the sport and actually getting some wins, not wins, but victories in their own sort. It shows a little bit of fortitude that I didn't necessarily think he might have had.
I think, and I think he's a fast driver. I just don't think he's just got one of those personalities that's like sandpaper on your skin. He's just grinds everybody. He's
an angry young man.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at like an Ollie Behrman that just seems to, maybe not for you, but for everybody else, just seems to sit in that he's a nice young boy kind of category. Lawson doesn't. He sits in that he's a bit of a tip kind of category. So it's I wouldn't be picking Limb. I wouldn't be picking Lawson over Lindblad if I was picking a driver that's going to be in the sport long term.
I see. It's like that, is it, James?
Well, he was born close to Australia, so I have to not like him purely just on the England Australia rivalry. So
Rivalry
Kiwis,
us.
yeah. You two half-wits that try and not give George points every week. Yeah.
Look, I don't think I know enough about Arvid to have a really strong opinion one way or the other at this point. I'd like to see him take it to Liam a little closer going forward, but I mean, they're not even on camera that much. But this has nothing to do with the drivers and their performance. What did you think of the car livery a couple of weeks ago that Martin liked and Crofty most certainly did not?
I quite liked it. It was different. I think teams should be given license to have a couple of races a year where they throw a different livery at it and see what they think. I quite like it. Stood out. So yeah.
Do you remember a few years ago? Jesus, more than a few years ago, Red Bull had this like strange like navy blue livery with like it looked like lines all over the car and stuff. That was interesting.
It was a testing livery, wasn't it? They had it for testing because it was kind of like one of those magic eye puzzles, so people couldn't see the curves of the car. So it was kind of one of those things that took your attention away, and so it was do that. But they had their white livery in Japan a few years ago, which looked spectacular as well.
So, I like that one too.
Yeah. So and the cherry red numbers and stuff, it looked awesome. So I think a couple of times a year they should be allowed to change because there's quite strict regulations as to what you can do. I think so. I quite like the idea of having a couple of times a year where they can throw something different at it.
Touche. While you were talking, I put Alpine up on the screen. We're moving on, James.
Yes, we are.
To Alpine. We've got Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto, the man with the most toxic fans in the world.
Yes.
Surprisingly adequate as a team.
Yes, well, I think they're being dragged up by their bootstraps by the fact they have a Mercedes powertrain. If you look at definitely helps to have that. And there's talk that it's only going to get better from the year out as soon as they go past this upgrade deadline. But and I'm not a big fan of Colapinto, but I think he's definitely had more upsides than downsides this year. I think he's not by no means been the worst. I think Gasly is a very safe hand at the tiller for that team as far as being number one driver. Yeah. I think he's probably the limiting factor though. If they had a
I think are you saying like the floor and the ceiling are not far apart, but the ceiling isn't that high?
Yeah. I think if you had an Alonso in that car, or if you had a Lindblad or something like that, somebody with young and talent and absolute balls to the wall speed, I think that they'd be doing a bit better, if I'm going to be honest. But they also do they're getting points every week, so it's whether you want somebody that's going to catch the highlights package by finishing fourth one week, or maybe even running close to a podium, or if you want somebody that's going to finish sixth or seventh every single week. it's one of those eternal questions in Formula One.
Well, my question to you would be: I actually have a different view of Pierre. I think he's you called it. I think you said safe, right? That was the word you kind of used, safe. He's absolutely a safe pair of hands at a car right now. He's exactly what Cadillac want Valtteri Checo to be. He's exactly what us would prefer Esteban Ocon to be. It's just not working out that way. What I wonder is if you put one of these other rookies or younger drivers that we really like in place of Franco Colapinto, would we have a totally different view of Pierre's work? Because the other drivers, like an Ollie Behrman, I think, and Gabriel Bortoleto, I think are better and would press Pierre more and score more points for Alpine. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Even if they'd have thrown a bag of money at Carlos Sainz or something like that, if you got Carlos Sainz and Pierre Gasly in that team this year, then the sky's the limit for a team that were running around dead last most of last year.
Yeah, I'm not as sold on Carlos Sainz in general, but that's been the case for us for years. You guys have talked him up when I've talked. I said no, I'd prefer Charles Leclerc. It's just been a constant sort of. You guys viewed them as equals. I didn't. I think I've been vindicated possibly in the long run there, but then again, Carlos got a few podiums at the end of last year, didn't he? So he does continue to achieve wherever he goes. So I see what you're saying. I think Franco's. I would say he's surprised me how little he's crashed.
He's definitely figured that out. That's for sure.
And
but then he's also not quite as fast as he used to be. So whether he's curtailed the speed for safety or what, I don't know. But then that's the thing is if you've got both safety and speed, then you're one of the top drivers in Formula One, and Franco Colapinto is certainly not one of those.
Maybe the toxic fans work for him. There's drivers that are just afraid to get into a stoush with him. So what it could mean for their next week.
They don't want their pet dog to be delivered to them in pits.
Jesus Christ. Well, on that note, let's move on to the team that I refuse to write off, even though you will, and you love to write them off. I will never write Max Verstappen off, James. We saw what he did last year. We are up to the Red Bull Racing team, of course. Max at the moment on 43 points, sitting 7th in the championship. Isaac at 14 points, sitting 12th in the championship. However, did come off quite a strong weekend in Canada relative to what that number 2 driver has been able to do for the 44 races preceding it. Is this a breakthrough moment for Isaac? Do you see the gap closing? Do you see... We'll start there. Do you see the gap between these drivers?
I don't actually think it's been that wide all year. If anything, Isaac had a better start to the year than Max. So I think obviously Isaac's got the benefit of learning the car at exactly the same time as Max did, whereas in the previous iteration of Formula One, Max has
coming in and just what the hell is this?
Lasting 3 races in some weeks. But because it's the first year of new regs, everybody else is going to be developing just as fast as Red Bull, and they're so far behind the 8 ball when it comes to the development of the car. They need this year just to sort everything out. Obviously, they'll come back stronger next year, but I think this year they're going to be very track specific. I think they're going to be strong in certain tracks and terrible in others, and it's just. I think 4th is the best they can do. If they stay 4th and stay comfortably 4th, I think they'll deem it as a success this year.
I was going to say, have they surprised you in a positive way? I mean, they've come in with the Ford. I mean, they've thrown their own a lot in somewhere different to everyone else.
Yeah,
I'm like, yes, they've clearly got some struggles with that car, but they are starting to come to terms with it, I think.
Definitely. And if you look at the other teams that have got new things, like Audi have got their own engine this year, and Cadillac have got their own chassis and everything this year, they're not doing very well at all. So if you look at that as comparisons, they're actually doing really well. So and to develop an engine, and they've got a lot to thank the people that have either left, or like the Jonathan Wheatleys and the Adrian Newey's and the Christian Horners that put the building blocks of this.
So much IP.
I think they could have a fallow couple of years, and I think we'll see Max move on in the next couple. But then no other team is going to let Max do what he does on the side. If he goes to Mercedes, he's not going to be allowed to go
and all that sort of stuff.
he's not. They're not. He's not. They're not going to let him go off and do the Nurburgring or all this kind of stuff. So he's going to have to make a choice.
You say that, but let's say you're Toto Wolff. You're engaging in the contract discussions with Max, and he says, "I will sign on with you, but I want a clause in my contract that says I can go do these extracurricular activities." If you're Toto Wolff, are you really going to say, "No, that doesn't work for me"?
I think if you'd have asked him at the start of the year, he'd have said no. He'd have said yes, sign on the dotted line. But I think with the emergence of Antonelli, and I still think George has a lot to offer as well, obviously. But we'll get to them in a sec. But I don't think he'd take the thing now, because I think he's very, very happy with his driver pairing.
Wow. Okay. You think Mercedes would turn down Max Verstappen?
Oh, not with all those caveats on the side. If it was just to sign Max Verstappen, then no, you wouldn't, because it's just stupid not to. But if he wants to go off and do all the other stuff, because it's just a risk. Like, it's the Nurburgring. If you crash the Nurburgring, it's very, very easy to break a leg. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on. I guess I just want to say, I've said it at the start there, but I will never, ever, ever say that Max Verstappen cannot win. I never. He's shown me too much last year for me to ever give up on this guy. And he's throwing that thing around and nearly getting pole at some of these tracks still, with a car that's clearly the fourth fastest at this point.
Yeah, I still don't. They'd have to have like a biblical comeback in as far as the speed of the car, because it's fast. Fast over one lap, but they're just not. They don't have race pace, and race pace is when
Max already is 88 points behind Kimi. Yeah, and we're not talking 88 points behind with a fast car. We're talking 88 points behind with a slow car. So while I grant you, I think the championship is fast becoming no bueno. I'm not ever going to say he can't win some races this year. It's Max Verstappen. He's unbelievable.
If it rains in Monaco and he sticks it on pole, then he's won the race.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So it's same in Hungary. It's the same in Singapore. All this kind of stuff. It's one of those. Yeah. So you're never going to write Lewis off for a win. You're never going to write Max off for a win. Probably even Lando to a certain degree now. He's got a quali lap in him. So
I disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'll give you Max and Lewis. I'm not giving you Lando.
Of course you do. Yeah.
Speaking of Lando, let's move on to our boys over at McLaren. Oscar and Lando. It could not have been a worse start to Oscar's season. 2 races, 0 laps to completed.
Or DNSs, 2 DNSs.
That's right. Yeah. Since then,
one of them was his fault.
Well, that's right. Lando's 58 points, sitting 5th. Oscar is 48 points, sitting 6th. You raised some concerns last race about Oscar's. You put it more down to ability, or maybe not ability.
Speed.
Let's call it confidence. Speed.
Yeah, speed right now.
I put it down to motivation, if anything. But then when I look at the standings, I think sometimes we get this recency bias. He had 2 DNSs to start the season.
Yeah.
He's only 10 points behind his teammate.
Completely. But then Lando's also had a couple of, a failure and a DNS as well. So they're kind of equal on that term. So and the Lando's DNF was not his fault as a gearbox, whereas Oscar's DNS was that he binned it on the road on the lap of the grid. Which is almost, it's up there with the most embarrassing things you can do, isn't it? So, but I think they're fine. I think there'll be multiple race wins for maybe even both drivers before the end of the year. I think they'll win 2 or 3 races between them this year. The one thing we know with McLaren is they can develop a car, and they can make an average car reasonably fast pretty quickly. So I don't think that they're too far behind, and they've got 2 of the best young drivers on the grid. So I don't think that they're worrying. And they're certainly not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And Zach seems to be of the agreement that he doesn't, even if Max Verstappen was available, he wouldn't take him. He's happy with his driver lineup. So he'd much rather have a harmonious team than Max.
Than a cantankerous team.
Yes.
It's easy to say when there's no driver leaving your team or no opportunity at this point to get Max. There is strong rumors around, as you're well aware, that Oscar and Max are looking at a potential direct switcheroo, which would make things interesting. I can see Oscar doing that, particularly with Mark's lack of, I suppose, what's the phrase I would use? Influence at McLaren these days. And he's got such a good relationship, or he did, with Red Bull. Now there's no,
there's no, yeah.
But
It's and
Oscar, it would be Oscar's team. You got to say that.
Yeah, if Max left, yeah, because that's the thing that surprises me about Webber saying or having this kind of deemed great relationship with Red Bull, because he didn't have a great relationship with them while he was driving with them. That's for sure.
That's not true. That's not entirely true. I mean, he had a great relationship with Dietrich. He did. He didn't like Helmut Marko. That was his biggest issue, because Helmut's boys were the young driver academy and not the old dog. In any event, we're not talking about Mark Webber. We're here to talk about McLaren.
We squeeze him in when we can.
Do you anticipate a world where Oscar does finish ahead of Lando? I know you've predicted Lando to finish ahead of him this season, as I think I did too. But
I think when everything is going right for both of them, I still think Lando ever so slightly has the edge over both speed and longevity and race pace, but I think it's almost 52 to 48. I think it's that even between them.
Yeah.
And it's a flip of a coin. Yeah. And they're both very different in how they race cars. So that's where it can get pretty track specific as far as they both go. So it's
just before we move on to Ferrari and Mercedes, the human element of the motivation side of it, I think, is really interesting. When you're like, you see any pro athlete, when they look at Lewis Hamilton, for example, from the heights of 2021 and competing for championships to the total difference in demeanor by the end of that stint at Mercedes.
Yeah.
When you're no longer at the front, when it's no longer sheep station stuff, you've got to think, how much does it take for them to readjust their goals and go, all right, look, third is my goal. Like, it sucks, but that's where I'm at. I wonder what the key to that motivation tactic would be, where McLaren are like, right now, we're not in the top, well, let's say we're second fastest team, depending on the weekend.
Yeah.
Realistically, barring, some retirements or a bit of luck or some, magic in a pit stop, that's our luck to get a win. It's not going to be through sheer pace, at least not right now.
No.
Do you worry for both drivers? Like, what's the motivating factor today when they don't feel like they're competing for a title?
I think they both have supreme confidence in their team to give them a fast car eventually. It may not be now, but if you were from what we know as fans and lifelong fans of Formula One right now, if you had the choice that you can't be in the Mercedes, but you know that that's the fastest car, where else would you want to go?
Yeah, I agree.
It'd be McLaren.
That's right.
Because Ferrari are one.
Ferrari would be a romantic choice, not a
essential one.
Yes. Well, it's defensible. Not logical.
But it's. I think it's just they'll be on the pace not on the pace, but they'll be clear and market second fastest car by the end of the year, and a little bit of luck away from a couple of race wins, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I just think it's an adjustment period, right? Where you go from imagine being in the race for the championship right for the last race of last year, and you start this year with 2 DNSs, and you're like, well, shit. So that's where I think his mindset is. It's one of those, he just needs to reset some goals. I'm sure he has. I mean, these are amazing athletes. But to me, that's probably where his mind's at, where it's like, I've got to really consider, what do I want to achieve over the next, say, 4 race period until we can bring this car up to a level that we're all going to be happy with. But anyway, it's interesting because I think, even as fans, we can lose some interest if our team's no longer good. Right, you're a West Coast Eagles supporter in the AFL. Are you checking out every week?
Shit right now.
Exactly.
Monthly.
So if it affects us, I can only imagine it also affects them when they go out there. I'm sure once you get out there, though, once you play sport, and you know this from playing sport, once you get on the field, on the pitch, on the court, you're into it. You're into it. You don't care where you're finishing, but you've still got to start somewhere, and that's where you can get a bit. Like, imagine starting on the wets last week and then like, well, shit. You know what I mean? Like, well,
we done that.
The competitive spirit is gone.
And that's the thing is when
I'm going to get that
been on the right tire. I was just about to say, when they've been on track, they've been reasonably quick. I just need to amend that now to when they've been on track on the right tyre, they've been reasonably quick. So,
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of reasonably quick, we move on to Ferrari, where
Yes.
we've got the team of Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Firstly, I want to start with Lewis. It is chalk and cheese listening to this guy talk about his Formula One experience this year, even as opposed to last year in the Ferrari. I'm delighted for him.
Yeah. Yes, me too. And if there were one lap races, they'd be clearing away winning the championship right now. So it's they've got some. That's where we bring the questions up as to. We've just spoken about McLaren and their ability to develop a car. Ferrari don't seem to have that ability when they bring it like upgrades. They tend to be half a tenth upgrades if going faster at all, whereas McLaren bring upgrades and they're 2/10 faster. So that's my big question. But the demeanor of Lewis is fantastic, and I think they'd be targeting race wins this year. Surely they'd probably know that they're not the fastest car, but they'd be targeting race wins. And so that's the thing is just imagine if Lewis gets off, qualifies third next week and breezes past the first two into the first corner, into Rascasse, in Monaco next week, there's a very good chance he wins the race. So and he loves Monaco.
Although in Canada, it did look like Mercedes. I know it's a short start in Canada. That's the only thing I think that plays their advantage a bit. But they did look, and it was a slightly damp track, I guess, in defense of McLaren.
Mildly
if they have solved the starting issue, but you're right. If Ferrari are, say, second row, there is every chance that a Ferrari leads into turn one.
At Monaco, and we all know if you lead into turn one, it's 95% that you win the race.
That's game over for sure. With the cars following so closely this year, I know when to talk about Monaco, but you've segued me here. I am a little bit fearful of a massive crash in the tunnel.
Anywhere on the track, because there's so many blind turns.
Differentials we see as well. It's just a little bit. It feels a little scarier this year.
Yeah. Well, did you see they've released a track map and there's no active aero? So there's no active aero point, whether it was a mistake or what. But there's the track map that's been released. There's no detection point for active aero, so they'll have the aero up the whole time.
Okay, I thought
so that might help with that.
Yeah, maybe so. Okay, interesting. What do you think the gap is between Ferrari and McLaren at the moment in terms of constructors?
We've got to take in the two DNS, the four DNSs for McLaren. But that's what I mean. That they've had 4 races where they haven't had points.
Doesn't matter. What's the difference?
2 races. I reckon it's 40 points.
Yeah, it's about 45. Some real quick math. So they do have. This is the advantage for Ferrari. They've got an opportunity here if they can keep delivering some results to actually finish second in this championship, or if they can find an upgrade that we don't necessarily believe in.
Yeah, like the rock and roll, the hokey cokey wing have they got, or something like that, something out the box which nobody else has thought of. The wing that they've got, or something like that, is they're a bee's dick away from really competing for race wins at certain tracks. And
thank God for them
where it's not power tracks. Yeah,
we had some brutal early races where Ferrari weren't out there for the first 15 laps. It felt very 2014 Mercedes for me, which was concerning. So. I don't love dominance, but look, they're very evenly matched this year. I tell you, 75 Charles, 72 Lewis.
Yeah, if you're going on momentum and form as well, I think right now I'd take Lewis. As Charles is just, as we've said before, too mentally fragile. He's
you have said before.
Yes, I think Taylor said it before as well.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I like Charles. I'm a big fan.
We all know you're a
Stan.
Ferrari fanboy. Yeah,
I am a Ferrari fanboy.
Australian Tifosi.
It's got to happen one day, James. If you stay on these sinking ships long enough, you might end up with the New York Knicks.
Or the Melbourne Football Club.
You never know your luck. All right. Speaking of knowing your luck, we move on to our boys over at Mercedes. They are once again back at the tip top of the pile. Perhaps a surprising leader at this point of the season. We've got Kimi Antonelli out front of the championship at 131 points. Your boy George, 88. So there is already a 43-point gap. Now, if last year showed us anything, this just doesn't matter at this point of the season.
No.
So I firmly believe, as do you, that in Canada, George had the upper hand and probably the mental edge. Didn't pan out that way, but that's not season lost by any means. This is a very recoverable margin, despite how large it looks.
It is. Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts early season on both of these drivers?
I don't think it's for Kimi. It's best case scenario plus 10. There's no way he would have gone into the start of this year thinking he's going to be nearly 50 points ahead after Canada, and losing 2 races as well. So that would have hurt Mercedes, because their dominance right now is, if they'd had the 2 races that got cancelled as well, they'd be even further ahead. So is the fact that they've won every race and not even look like there's been a few first 15 laps, first 20 laps where they've been tested by Ferrari and McLaren, and a couple of sprints where they've come out pretty strong, but the car just looks too fast right now. And the fact that they waited a week to bring their upgrades when everybody else brought them in, just to make sure that they were right, and it was back to being at least half a second a lap faster than anybody else this in Canada. So I don't think that
I could get my hopes up a little bit there for a hot minute.
Yeah. Miami's a very different kind of track as well. So, but the winner is one of those two, and I'm probably still erring towards George, because I think experience will tell. Look, there's actually a monkey on the roof of the place where I'm sitting right now, just calling off and looking at me funny. There you go. Wildlife from Drive to Describe. But
the David Attenborough over there in Bali.
I feel like I'm 100 years old at the minute, but I think I still, right now, it's skinnier than it was before, but I do think George will win the championship still this year. Kimi, just if he goes anything like last year, where he has that 6 or 7 races where he falls off, even if it's 3 or 4 races where he falls off this year, it's the start of new regs as well, new engines and new drivetrains. So everybody's at least going to have an engine failure, I think, at some point this year. So just got to, and the one thing he has done is made hay while the sun shines. While he's been fasted, he's won everything and come second in the other one that he hasn't won. So I don't.
Let's be real. That's despite some shocking starts.
Yeah, definitely. But you're going to give me shit here for being a George fanboy, but he got lucky in China and he got lucky in Japan with safety cars. So if you look at, and George said that in Japan, if the safety car comes a lap earlier, then he wins that race. So, and then we're not talking about such a big gap. So it is what it is.
My auntie had balls, should be my uncle, James. It doesn't mean
exactly. Yeah. If my granny had wheels, she'd be a bike.
That's right.
But no, it's but having said all that and gone through all this kind of things, I think we're having a very good, even though it's a little bit of a blowout at the minute, we're having some very good action races. Is yes, the engines need sorting and the powertrain needs sorted out, but the cars can race close, even if they put petrol engines back in them. The cars can race close, and it's I think it's only, they're going in the right direction as far as the aero stuff goes, which is fantastic, which is really what Formula One's all about. The powertrains can be changed and will be sorted out, and but we will see in the long term when it comes to that. But these cars can race close. They need to get a little bit lighter and a little bit smaller again for in the next generation. And I think we'll be right back into having some absolute ding dongs.
Yeah. I was going to say, Kimi has pleasantly surprised me. Now, I did tip him for the championship, but
that's purely because I'm a George fan.
Correct. Yeah. It was firmly tongue in cheek just to stir you up. And I'm like, now I'm sitting there going, well. The turns have tabled.
The turns have tabled.
That's right. But look, I think Kimi is, as far as for someone that young to be at this peak, is extraordinary. How legitimate is this peak? We'll see. Time will tell, right?
Exactly right.
Like you anticipate George will continue to close this gap as the pressure. As we saw the pressure get into Kimi in the sprint. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah,
maybe not the
definitely.
pressure, but just the anxiety of the situation. He was
Yeah.
not handling his emotions, and
No.
he's 19 years old, so of course he's not
Yeah.
handling his emotions in a super
No.
mature way. How will that show itself? How will George try to take advantage of that? Are we going to see some gamesmanship? If I was George, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Do the old Alonso park in the pit lane, make him wait behind me.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that, but there's things you can do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he did it in Canada. I was thinking about it more. We've had this conversation in the last step, but there's no way if you're any racing driver and somebody puts a move on like Kimi did on George, you're not doing that. And then there's also no way that any racing driver, if you're Kimi, you wouldn't try it. So
Agreed on both.
it's just what we love Formula One for. It's because people try stuff that's not quite there sometimes, and they get a bit flustered. But it was just great racing, and it shows the mental state of both of them is that they both know that this is very, very important, the championship, and they're going to have to get the points while they can, because there is going to be a time in the year where the other driver has got a bit more on them. So I'm just looking forward to the rest of the year. I think it's going to be an absolute ding dong of a battle over the rest of the year. I've used ding dong far too many times here. Yeah.
Ding dong. Well, Knicks fans say ding dong, James. So there you go.
Yes, definitely.
In any event, we have the Monaco Grand Prix coming up next.
Yes.
Do have a little bit more going on in that space. And yeah, we've got a whole big race to look forward to next week. It's this weekend,
and then I think we've got is it a three-peat?
I think we've got
three back to back. I think
we've got three Barcelona, and then where are we going? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to certain tracks. We're on our own now. We're finally getting some races.
Yes, and they're coming fast until mid-season break. Yeah,
we are absolutely filling. But that was our little quick team review.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting to look at the standings, see where they're actually sitting. I was really surprised to see Audi so low.
Yes,
2 points was
same.
shocking.
I thought they were higher. I would have lost my house because I'd have bet it. Yeah,
yeah. And the gap between McLaren and Ferrari surprised me. But then, as you say, you sometimes forget there's a couple of do not starts in there. And
they both had 2, and if they'd have got 10 points in each of the races, they'd be square off, and probably stealing a couple of points off McLaren, off Ferrari as well. So yeah,
that's true too. Yeah, exactly right. So, all right, we got the Monaco Grand Prix yet. Next, early prediction: are we getting a surprise, or is it a Mercedes win again?
I think so. I know. I think. Well, it's notoriously a qualifying track. So. If Ferrari put it in the top 3 or 4 spots, I think we're going to have a Ferrari win.
I'll tell you what. I've just got this weird feeling we're going to see an accident of some sort that's going to rock the foundations of this, and whether that's Ferrari getting into turn 1 really quick and cars coming together. I don't know whether it's someone closing the gap really quickly and suddenly. I don't. I've just got a weird feeling about this weekend. I've got a Max feeling, James, as well.
Yeah,
I think you can put it on pole. If anyone can throw their car around a track like that, and it just doesn't matter how fast you are necessarily in a straight line at Monaco. It's all about those corners, 100%, and it's getting every little inch out of that track that you can without banging it into a wall.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I know you're not much of a gamer. Have you ever played this game on PlayStation or anything? This track?
Never. Dude, last time I had a PlayStation, I was 14.
It's fucking impossible. I'll tell you that much for nothing. You put even light damage on, you're done on lap 1. And anyone who thinks you're not, you're a liar.
Or you're just 14.
You got to turn all damage off and just smack into every wall as you go around the track.
Yeah. Or just be careful. Yeah.
Or be careful.
Yeah. But nobody plays that game to be careful. Yeah.
Nobody plays to be careful. You're absolutely right. Without much further ado, we are F1 Drive to Describe, as if you didn't know. We are available on the Tickety Tick TikTok, on the Instagram, on the YouTube. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, if you find us on YouTube, we're available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. If you prefer just an audio version, that's where you'll find us. James?
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And if you could like and subscribe on YouTube and comment, that helps out with the algorithm to get us in front of more eyeballs. So if you could
comment on the video.
Yeah,
Say go,
and
Kimmy.
we'll try and get in and reply to a few and see if we can find some fellow George fans or some fellow. Who's your boy this year? Is it Oscar?
I guess it's Oscar. I mean, it's going to stay Oscar until such a point that he's not there. But here's one. South Americans, come at me, bro. Add all your comments. Come and stir us up. Come and get into us.
Yeah, and I'll tell you all to piss off. Yeah.
But yes, F1 Drive to Subscribe, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can find us anywhere.
Yeah.
Please like, subscribe, rate, comment. All that stuff helps us with the algorithm. We are aiming to put out as much material as possible. I'll be trying to get on with Taylor here and there at sporadic times where I will do a lot of talking because I've pretty much exhausted what I've got to say, but he will be here to say some stuff. So, yeah, we're aiming to get even more content out to you guys so that there's even more to engage with, which we're really excited about. So thank you for joining us. If you've just found us on the Instagram on the YouTube, welcome.
Or Instagram.
Clive, if you're out there, Clive, if you're out there, just shoot us a quick email, shoot us a comment.
You know where we are.
You know where we are, Clive. All right, James, enjoy Bali. Arrivederci.
Thank you very much. Ta-da.
Au revoir.